Alright all, welcome to another video of watching me put a freight car together. This is the Accurail 2-bay covered hopper. Odds are you might have seen this car in the comparison video, so really I just had to have this car in order to make that video, so I just went ahead and recorded putting it together here. I took everything out of the package, and I'm taking everything off the sprues, getting it sanded up. First thing it says to work on is to put the little hopper doors on the bottom of it. So that's what I'm doing here. And again, this is a situation where I could not find my glue, so I just used epoxy. And I guess in the end, it'll be much more solid than had I used plastic cement. But it kind of made for a bit of a process when I was putting it together, because then it just doesn't dry as fast, and it's a little stickier. So here I'm just getting the little slanted ends put together. You know, I wouldn't say there was anything all that exceptionally complicated about this car. I've never really put one of these together, but you know, it was pretty much anyone can do it. I do recommend test fitting all the parts, just like you would with any other thing. Just test fit the parts and make sure things fit together before you glue it. And that really, that goes for any kind of glue. It just makes easier, and things end up looking better that way. So here I'm trying to finally get the end in. I remember having a little bit of issues with this because at first I had it in backwards, but I got it in, and getting things glued in and trying to move on to the next spot. This process, the whole car, it took me over a 2-day span because I was letting things dry. Now I'm working on the little air compressor thing, which I'm not entirely sure that thing actually goes there, because I mean, it says on the instructions and all, but the finished car, it doesn't seem like it lets the trucks turn correctly. So I'm not sure about that. I might just take it off if I keep it. Mixing up a little more glue there. Gonna get the weight in. This is kind of my favorite thing about using the epoxy, is the epoxy works good for this glue, or works good for this weight. I'm working on the little hatches now. One more thing I want to mention about that weight. If you ever put one of these 2-bay hoppers together, make sure that you get that weight centered just right, and it's not covering over the little trough that the top of the car sits in. I'm not sure if I kept it in this video whenever I put it together later, but I had a situation where that weight had moved and it was covering over one of the little troughs, and I actually just had to pull the weight back off and re-glue it, because there was no way to put the car together when you do that. So just make sure that you get that weight in there just perfectly, and you shouldn't have any problems. But anyways, here I'm putting on the little hatches to the top of the car, and there's a little bit of sanding involved for that one, because they didn't fit in there just perfectly. So that's another situation where you want to test fit things. Here I'm putting in the little the end platform, I guess you'd say. There's one on each end. Oh, and here's the little chain, which I think this chain might be an issue for some people, because I still am not quite sure when they expect for you to put this thing in, because you got to put it in before the little platform. But even once you put it in, the platform's still it doesn't really go on quite right. So I would recommend you put the chain on first, but before that chain dries, so make sure it's a slow drying glue that you put the chain on with. Before that chain dries, you put the platform on, because you you might need to move the chain to make it work, because there's a little slot that the chain goes through on that platform. So it all has to kind of fit together just right. So that's probably the best advice I could give on any of this for this car. So, but we're gonna getting that thing put on, and looks like we're getting close to being done with that part. As you can see, the instructions are fairly clear for this. So if you follow them along, you can get a pretty good car and pretty good progress out of it. I'm not really a person that enjoys doing kits. Not this kind of kit. More of a building kit's what I would say I'm more in tune with. But here I'm putting the car, the bottom, attaching it to the top, and yeah, it's finally fitting in. This is after I had to re-glue the weight on the bottom. It took a little bit to get the bottom to fit in there just right, and also you want to, I had my little wet rag there just to make sure that the epoxy isn't getting all over the place. Which, if you use normal plastic cement, that's not as big of a deal. I don't know if you guys would use testers or Tamiya or what, but I always use Tamiya. It works pretty good. But now you can see I am getting the trucks and all the parts relating to that out. Accurail has Accumate couplers, which are kind of like a two-piece coupler. They're not very good. I would recommend, if you did this, to just put Kadees on there and move on. I felt like I had to put the Accumates on there because I wanted it to be as original as it possibly could. I would also recommend you adding weight while you have the car opened up. This car weighed around 2.5, 2.75, and I think it needs to weigh like 4.5. But anyways, there you go, guys. Enjoy, and please like the video.